Hola muchachos, Armchair Analysts podcast here, episode 31 coming at you. As always, with you is myself, Ace, and joining us again,
Johnny. Haven't died yet.
Yay! Yeah, and I got to see a lot of you this weekend. It was fun. Past weekend.
It was a good bro weekend. Got some golf in, got some pool basketball, got some bruises. Good stuff.
Oh my god, yeah, that's crazy how easily we bruise the older we get, apparently.
Old and fragile.
You want to kick us off? Let us know what's going on this episode?
Nope. That's the end of the episode, guys. Thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure. No, okay. Maybe just kidding. So I do just want to take a quick moment before we really get into anything. We did hit 500 downloads early last week. So just want to thank everyone who's listened so far. Really appreciate it. We haven't had a ton of time to put into this aside from, just some spare time here and there and a couple days a week. But we're starting to ramp up now. I got a new job and working from home, so I'm going to have quite a bit more time. A lot less traveling on the weekends now as well, so we'll be able to dump some more effort into this and start growing it. Hopefully hit 1,000, and I'll have to go up to Minnesota and get spanked in golf again by Aaron. So we'll see. I'm okay with it. It's fine. But
that's the plan. Every 500, we're gonna basically alternate visits.
No, we're every double. So 500,000 to. But just want to thank everybody who's listened so far. We got a lot more things in the works, more interviews, collaborations, and a couple new formats to come. So stay tuned for that. But if you haven't already, we are on Twitter at a podcast. Love to chat with you guys, get some feedback either way. Always a good time. We are available on every major platform: Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Radio, all that good stuff. You can find us there and also on YouTube. So we appreciate everybody. And since I just mentioned that I got a new job, I do want to mention that this random rant may be referencing that. So we were positive last week. Every other week we've been kind of rough and negative, but this one is just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of want to feel how other people, maybe Ace, you can chime in too. This job, I'm 100% remote, so and we're looking like that probably at minimum until December, if not through the year. So I'm kind of adapting with that. I worked partially from home previously, and I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like I was working, I think, 3 days a week from home, 2 at the office, and that wasn't horrible. Then I was just in the office for the last 2 months, and now I'm 100% remote. So I'm adjusting. It's a lot harder than I thought, and I knew that it was taking toll on some people. Because some of my friends have been doing it literally since middle of March, so
yeah,
I don't know how you guys do it, man.
If anyone has suggestions, if anyone has suggestions for get yourself in a routine, tweet at us or whatever the case. I kind of what I like to do is definitely stick to that alarm clock. That's one thing I'll tell you, John, is do not try to snooze that too long, because the last handful of months I've gotten into a bad habit of snoozing that thing, and it definitely kind of throws you off and you feel a little more groggy than, usual to actually get up and drive into work. God, I don't know. I love music. I love podcasts. So, I mean, I guess from that standpoint, I still can adapt to that stuff, but it's going to take a little bit.
Yeah. I've been trying to play with just moving to different rooms and having some music. And I mean, I don't know. Even taking a walk on lunch seems to be nice, but still, there's like a 4-hour stretch after that where it's back to the same stuff. So I don't know. I'm gonna play with it a bit, but props to anyone who's already dealt with that for that long and you're still mentally intact. You are much stronger than I. But I just want to throw out some respect and then just kind of rant a little bit about how. This is, I know a lot of people are like kind of downplaying it and like, oh, I'm just going to work anyway. It's like, well, some businesses literally can't let you because if they have, enough positive tests, they shut down. So, and even if you're remote workers, they're doing their thing. But if there's people physically in the office, if something were to happen to them, well, then, that part of the business would shut down. So, you know what, just keep your mind open and, huge props to people out there who are pulling through because damn, it is not fun. I don't care how people want to sugarcoat it. It is not a good time.
I love doing breathing exercises. That's one way. And just think of what you said last week. PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah, but just knowing how far away it'll be. Like, nice thing is, a couple of my coworkers already organized like a happy hour type thing. Whether it be, one digital, and we'll do a
Nice.
one in person too. Just because onboarding virtually is pretty shitty. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It's everyone's been really cool, but it's still not the same. But enough of that. Some good news, some fun stuff. After the Bucks got decimated in Game 1 against the Magic, we gotta turn the focus, right? We gotta turn the focus a little bit, but yeah. So Game 1, the most insane knee-jerk reactions. All the pundits, all the fans just blowing up on Facebook and Twitter. They've been silenced, to say the least, as the Bucks took the last 3 and are looking to close out tomorrow evening. So I would say 90% of people figured this would happen regardless. The Magic obviously being the lowest seed and having a couple key players out, but I mean that Game 1 beating was, I don't know. I'm not gonna say expected, but it's like it's the first real meaningful basketball they played since.
And it was the first game of the day too. It's always
weird. It was. That's what made it even worse because I couldn't even watch it. Like, I was like, great, cool. But
the depth I'm hoping will take the Bucks to the finals because clearly, like you mentioned, the Magic are without a few key players, but overall the Bucks got probably the most depth in the East, maybe alongside the Celtics perhaps. And I don't even know how the Heat, like, if they have to play the Heat, the Heat have Jimmy Butler and Dragic. I don't know who the heck they're piecing together, these guys, but they advanced.
Yeah, but I don't know why, but for some reason the Bucks. It's honestly since they switched to the Miami Vice colors. It's a coincidence. I don't know, but ever since they switched, the Bucks have always had a hard time with them. So you never know, man. It's been a long year. I mean, I know that the players have been off, but I mean everyone's trying to get back into the rhythm and stuff. But I think things are kind of shaking out, kind of how we thought. Trailblazers, they kind of shook the Lakers at first, but that kind of is going how everyone thought it would.
Oh, they're gassed. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's Lillard's just he did what he did, but it's just not enough. So, and I think the only series that's really even remotely interesting still is the Rockets Thunder, which obviously, if you watch basketball at all, there's a little bit of historical precedence there. Seeing as the two Rocket superstars actually came from the Thunder.
Oh, and even Clippers and Mavs, I'd say, especially after Doncic hit that game winner the other night.
Yeah, that one, I think we know how that's gonna go. I think Luka, he's gonna have his day, but I don't think you're gonna deny Kawhi. But
I like what you did there.
We're moving away from our regional stories, so why don't you talk about our Twinkies real quick?
Well, what's funny is literally last Tuesday at this time, after we had finished the episode, Twins Kenta Maeda, their pitcher, who has been off to a hot start, threw a no-hitter into the 8th inning against the Brewers. Booyah! They ended up tying up the game, unfortunately. Our closer, Taylor Rogers, has been all right.
That's why I didn't know why you wanted to talk about this. Like, it get all excited and
Well, the reason I wanted to bring it up because Rogers gifted him. So Kenta Maeda doesn't drink, and so he had to talk through Maeda's translators on what to get him, and apparently he requested rice of all things. So being from Japanese, or Japan, I should speaking Japanese, but from Japan originally. Kenta Maeda requested he wanted like a nice, expensive rice. As a gift. And so what was kind of nice after that is Taylor Rogers sent him a note, gave him rice, and all is well on the Twins home front. We've obviously our big boppers are coming through right now. Sano and Cruz has been lighting it up, and we're playing the second place in our division, Cleveland Indians, right now, and so it's gonna be a tough series. And I love the fact that it's such a shortened season, so every game matters that much more. But yeah, it was kind of a weird, like, basically the closest to we've gotten this season to a no hitter, going into the eighth, or I guess technically the ninth, and then oddly enough, Brewers tied up. We ended up winning, but still. Um, on top of that, though, over the weekend, again, we mentioned in previous episode the Chiefs false positive test. Well, this happened to the Vikings. 12 players had to get tested again, and all came back negative off of the COVID test. So it makes me a little concerned about where they're actually going in the facilities, and just logistically what's all going to happen, especially if this happens, on a Saturday or even a Friday, trying to get results back. Regardless of the team, it's like you could be without key players, and they're not even sick. Nothing's wrong with them.
Yeah, and that's going to be something that obviously we're going to have to pay a lot more attention to, since we're this season. I mean, no one said anything otherwise, so as far as I know, week one's right around the corner. So, and again, with no preseason games and only training camp, really to give us any guidance on where this is going to go, it's not looking super great.
Yeah. Well, and last thing I'll say about the Vikings, they announced finally today their first 2 games during the regular season will be without fans. It's like, come on. Like, every other team has basically stated this except for the Chiefs, I think.
No, there's still some that are clinging. Some of the larger stadiums think that they can space enough. Like I mentioned last week about how the Packers are looking to do about maybe 12-ish%. I think there's 81,000 seats in there, and they're looking to keep, just a small fraction of that. So, I don't know, man. If anyone, they literally, like we've talked about since, sports was talking about getting kicked back into gear, NFL had the longest time to plan things out. They got to watch how the teams did it, what not to do, and I would argue that they have the most resources too. So if they can't get it done, then, by golly, shut her down, and we'll see you next year. Because if we're going to do it, great. If we can't do it, don't give me 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
And I think I'll definitely talk about that in a little bit once we get to our tee-off topic. So, all right. Are you going to grace us and maybe give us a little, build up for the soundbite of the week?
Yes. It was at the Astros game. They have all the stadiums have out and left and right field, or even along the third and first base lines, different, I guess what would you call them? Boards of people's faces.
Cutouts,
Cutouts, yeah. The Astros put huge teddy bears out there, and conveniently during a foul pitch, it smacked one right in the face.
Whoa, spoilers! All right, let's play the clip.
Still smiling. I can't bear to watch. Oh, wow. Popped right back. Popped right back. I think everything is fine. Still smiling. Yeah. Just pick it up on the way home. He took a shot. How about the smile? Look, I love that, huh? Just look at his leg up. Yeah, took one off the noggin with a smile on his face, saying, "You can't hurt me."
The clip is amazing in its own right, but I'm a big sucker for puns.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was a good one. I do like that. And it's nice to see that they're embracing the no fans and they're having some fun with it. Which I thought initially when I talked about the Brewers before they even started about how they were going to have like fans could pay to have a cutout of themselves in the field, in the stands. Like I thought that was pretty cool. So they're having fun with it, so we can have a little bit more fun with it. So I can respect that. I respect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, are we getting down to business?
Should we?
Is it time?
I think it's time.
I think it's time. All right, so topic for this week. You know what? Now that we got a good feel about how the NBA is going, baseball's been going for a bit, football's right around the corner. Ace and I, we got together. We had our little powwow this weekend. Maybe had a few too many shots and too many drinks while we're brainstorming. But really, I think the only thing that really needs to be said right now is we need to talk about the current state of sports after the break. So baseball obviously didn't even get to start yet, but they had a nice little break after spring training. Basketball, football's getting ready to gear up just in a moment. So
hockey, MLS, all the other.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I might be a little prejudiced.
UFC's been the longest standing one, by the way.
Yeah. Well, so I pose to you, Ace, how do you feel about the current state of sports?
I think overall, it's, for the most part, a lot of the games have been pretty engaging. I know in terms of baseball, they're kind of at the same home run clips and runs scored as they were last year, which basically set records for home runs in a season. All-time record for teams in a season.
Juicing.
So clearly, yeah. My theory is it's something with the baseball. The pitchers can't. They've thinned out those red laces, so pitchers can't get the same spin on pitches. They're off-speed pitches, but until they actually come out and legitimately say something, who will know? Because I think you're also right in that a lot of them are juicing. But point is, the game. The games have been
week's
exciting.
Show.
The games have been exciting. I think I haven't watched as much basketball, and I know we've been following college football, just news and what's happening with the conferences a little bit, but they're obviously not playing yet either. I did watch a handful of MLS games. To me, it doesn't really bother me not seeing the fans in the stands. I don't even really notice that.
Like in general?
What's your stance? Yeah.
I think it was an adjustment. I think just like watching basketball and hearing like while they're dribbling down the courts, just hearing the music,
yeah.
Like it can get a little unnerving at times, but I mean initially, yeah, it was weird. It was just effing weird, right? Like, but now that we've seen numerous games of numerous sports for numerous weeks, I think now I'm pretty okay with it, actually. I don't mind it because now I honestly at the end of the day, I'm watching the game. The noise obviously was pretty weird. Like the first few times I listened to the radio broadcast of baseball was pretty weird. But I don't know. I would take that obviously over not being able to watch anything. For me personally, I don't find myself as invested. It's like to be fair though, like relatively speaking, like I was fanatical, and now I feel like just a casual fan. Like, I think I said this right as COVID hit and the games were pulled. I ended my live TV subscription, so now I'll stream it on my phone, I'll stream it on my computer if I'm able to, but I'm not like going out of my way to catch a game if it's at like an inconvenient time, or heading to a bar to see a game just because. Like, so that in that regard, I mean, that's pretty drastic, at least for me personally. Like, I feel like a lot of people, it's like, well, let's go watch the Bucks game, you grab a couple bros, go to the bar, get some food.
That's going to change with me, I think, especially with baseball, because I've watched a lot more baseball games than I have over probably the last 10 years, honestly. After college, I just kind of was like, not for me. I didn't pay much attention to sports outside of football.
I think I'm going to have to call the bandwagon, though, because I think you're just watching the Twins because they're playing well.
I mean, the last couple, you can maybe make that argument. I don't care. Call me.
You can cue the bus soundbite as I push you underneath it.
Oh gosh, ouch! One good thing I'm glad they got rid of is I know in some of the baseball stadiums they had the CGI, so like behind home plate they'd put like the CGI of fans basically, and I think they still do that in the NBA, or whether basically the players can't see any of that, or I don't know if it's a little bit of different setup in the bubble there for the NBA, but I'm glad they got rid of that because that whole experience is just kind of odd.
It goes from being odd to creepy though with like the digital fans. Like,
yeah,
I get it. Like, maybe it's fun for the people that get on there, but for most of us, it's just weird. So, from all of us to the NBA, just stop. It's stop.
Well, I gotta imagine they gotta have some sort of delay too, because it's like what.
They're just moving around, picking their nose. You know, it's not really. Yeah, but I think for me, it's different in a lot of ways. Like as far as like media consumption, like reading articles, as far as like checking stuff out on my phone, as far as like checking highlights and stuff. It feels like not a whole lot has changed. The commentators and the people that put together that material, they're probably really excited to still have jobs and to be able to actually comment on things that are actually happening. So I would say from that standpoint, it's pretty damn similar. But yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is, it's not a social activity. I can't, plan a game with the boys. I can't, grab a buddy and go check out a game. Like, it's, even just relishing fall Sunday nights, just sitting in my armchair and just analyzing stuff. No.
Well, especially with COVID laws too. Yeah, obviously, depending where you go, it's going to be a lot smaller crowd. So I agree. It's almost like better to almost watch it in your house. And
don't forget, we're up north. We're Wisconsin and Minnesota. So come October, those beer gardens outside for the game aren't going to be that great.
No kidding. And same with the positive tests. That's why they keep talking about the spike too.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the time frame, right? It's right about now.
Yeah, once it gets a little bit cooler, and the days get shorter. Please don't cancel football.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Since this has been a possibility since April, I was highly considering all of the other things I could do, because typically on Sundays, as soon as my fat body gets out of bed, I am just in football mode. I'm setting my lineups. I'm betting on the lines. I'm checking for prop bets. Triple checking my fantasy lineups, and then I'm just sitting, drinking, eating, and watching football from literally the first game until the end of Sunday Night Football. So I feel like with all of that time, I could be a lot more productive. So
and I think you will.
#silver lining, but I still.
How many football leagues are you in this year? Because this is the first year I'm actually not going to be in any.
So I just got invited to the league for my new job. My dynasty league, I don't think is going to happen. Like, literally, we were with the guy that we stayed with. He's the commissioner, and he's like, "Nah, I don't know." So if that doesn't give you an idea of our topic right now, like, a lot of people just they don't feel the same way they did. Like, normally this guy is on our asses, like, "All right, I need your $100 buy-in, like, let's go," And now it's like there's not even a whisper. So and even I think that's kind of there's a couple people that I feel that are maybe a little too nihilistic about it, but you can make the league, but it's like, okay, well then you have to set guidelines for when shit goes down. So is it most points scored? Is it whoever's in first? Like, is it money back? So it's, I think people just fearing the lack of organization if things do get shut down, which it's still pretty possible.
Yeah, that whole COVID list. It's like you never know which player is going to end up on that list. And so do you open up the rosters so that you can make transaction moves the day of instead of that? Yeah.
Yeah, they got IR spots. We need COVID spots. Shit.
I'm so glad I'm not going to have to think about that this year. And I could, like you said, focus on more productive things, ideally.
Productivity's overrated, Ace. I want to watch me some football. I want to watch Kirk Cousins fail to do anything in the playoffs again.
Oh, gosh. Get over it. We'll see.
The other point that I wanted to bring up about this, so we've covered, how we kind of think things are going. If you were to say right now, obviously NFL excluded, out of all of the major sports, we'll even throw UFC in there, who do you think has done it best, and who do you think has the chance of actually finishing out the full season?
Oh man, I mean, can I say UFC and NASCAR just and golf because they don't have as
so
many.
Everything but the big four.
Individual.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a tough question. I think ultimately all of these sports are going to end up finishing. It's just
really.
Yeah. Well, sorry, except for I think football honestly might have the hardest time because of the contact and the spitting and all the crap that they're trying to prevent to be able to pass this disease. Unless these helmets made by Oakley actually are pretty legitimate and the players don't go up
what's
screaming
crazy?
in arms.
I have not heard another word about that ever since the player backlash. I have not seen a single article, even a straight tweet about those helmets. So I wouldn't bank on those being a thing.
Those coaches, I bet, in the meetings had probably condemned anyone for spouting off about it. But who knows? I don't. What are your thoughts? Do you think anyone won't finish? Any teams won't, or any sports, I should say.
I think baseball. I mean, you had the poster child of stupidity in the Cardinals, so they kind of they kind of got a good picture and a good idea of what not to do. Yeah. NBA. I mean, they're already well on their way. I mean, those they weren't calibration games, seeding games. Sorry.
The bubble is the best because how do you police players when they're able to go from a stadium back to their homes and whatnot? Whereas if you're in a bubble restricted.
Yeah, but the NBA is the only league that can do that. No other team in the Big Four has a roster that small or a staff that tiny.
Yeah.
Or a facility that can actually accommodate not only all the players, but like all the staff. Like they have all of those lodgings in Orlando, so it's like, okay, well, we got these courts, we got a billion hotels, and it's not like Disney's selling out tickets every day. So if we need to dump some extra people in the place, we can. It's pretty easy. So they got a good handle on it. I'd say NBA is probably the best. MLB again, I think you're right. They probably are fine. Yeah, but I think the bubble, like they knew that they had the opportunity. They knew that they had everything kind of in place to do it, and they pulled it off perfectly, man. I mean, I thought it was a joke. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be, whoo boy. No, but they've done an amazing job. College football. I know the SEC, Nick Saban and his cronies are 100% certain that there'll be a season. They want to do it for the players.
Yeah.
Or really the millions of dollars that are on the table too. But
yeah.
They have a huge roster, and kids are dumb.
Yep. That's to me, that's the most obvious one that's going to end up failing.
Kids are dumb.
Because you got other students you got to worry about. And I honestly think it's better to have the season played because then you have these student athletes that actually are restricted or, have set blocks of time where they have to be at the facility around trainers and all of that crap. Whereas without a season now, I mean, they can do whatever they want pretty much. I assume. I don't know what are the Big Ten players going to do, basically, without a season. They can still practice, I assume, but just overall, it's got to. I'd rather see them playing because
I don't know. With the Big Ten, the parents are up in arms and protesting and getting all salty, but I mean, I don't think it could have been more like unequivocally clear that they weren't going to do it. Like the season's done, like that's it.
Yeah.
Deal with it, figure it out. But I mean, we'll see, man. I mean, we'll get to see both college football and NFL in just a couple weeks here. So
when does aren't they kicking off the end of the September? Right?
So
they've already delayed it, I think.
Yeah, they delayed it, but I can't remember when the SEC said they would start, but I guess either way, like it doesn't really matter because they don't. I don't even think they have their own plans in place here. You put me on the spot.
I know. Yeah, I know. Army is trying to. They're going to have like an 8-game schedule. I think, being somewhat of an independent, and I assume that means Navy. Again, we're putting each other on the spot, but
so September 26th is the alleged start date, but everything else, it's still up in the air. We got TBDs across the board, so. Jeez. And this is right from the SEC website, so. I'm going to go with they don't know what the hell's going on. But you know what? Good for them for trying, but if this backfires, they are so screwed.
Well, which governor was chastising the frickin' Big Ten and the Pac-12 for, or I think, wasn't he calling the Big Ten like a cupcake conference or something like that now? Oh, Mississippi, the Mississippi governor.
Yeah, Governor Reeves, yeah.
Gosh, what a dork. Stick to your lane.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we'll see. Oh, and, you know, we didn't mention this, but Timberwolves, #1 pick in the NBA draft. Woo! Okay.
Oh, that should have been our regional. We might have to edit this, put it in the regional.
No, it wasn't worth really speaking of. I probably should have coughed and just said it, but at least now we got our heads in place. I got a good chat in, but before we end this week, we need to get to the best part of the show. Ace's Quick Six. What's up this week?
Yay! So stemming from last week, I'm gonna elicit your participation, or at least feedback. So NFL kicks off in a couple weeks. I was thinking about it at work today. I'm like, which is not, you got the quarterbacks to deal with, or the rookies, I should say, that are coming in hot. You got a lot of second, third year quarterbacks that are supposed to really take the next step up. Baker Mayfield. First, so I got 12 this time because I'm going to start with the most fascinating team to watch, and then obviously second, the least interesting team to watch. I think it's pretty obvious who's going to be on the most fascinating. So I'll let you. Do you want to? I'm trying to think if it's easier for you to guess or if I should just say them.
Just say them because I'm already looking at your list.
Oh, all right. Well, so the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Saints, the Cardinals. I think they're going to be sneaky impressive to watch, especially with Hopkins now, and they got Drake, who's going to be the featured back there. Now that David Johnson's gone after they traded him to the Texans for Hopkins. And then the other, I couldn't, like, at first I thought the Cowboys maybe should be in there, or the Cowboys got some offense. I mean, but the problem is you got to rely on the quarterback getting those studs the ball. So which one do you think is the most fascinating to watch this year? Is it even close?
Saints is the same stuff every year. Don't really care. Give the ball to Michael Thomas. Let Kamara run it. Hope the defense does stuff. It's literally the same every year. Taysom at least makes it slightly more interesting, but he only gets like 5% of the snaps, so who cares? Ravens are fun, but they can't win a playoff game. Don't really care. Bucks will be entertaining for a little bit until Brady either ascends into complete God mode again or breaks down. So people are just watching to see which one of those things happens. Chiefs will be fun to watch always. I think. I'm most excited. It's probably Cardinals or Chiefs, just to see if Mahomes can keep it up. Season to season.
Yeah.
And he had a decent year last year. I think we can agree he had a decent season. We need to see what his follow-up is now.
I kind of got a side. I think the Bucks are going to be interesting. I mean, they don't really have much of a running game, but I mean, with
but that's what I'm saying. You're literally watching just to see how Brady does.
Yep. Yeah.
You're not watching for any other reason. You're watching to see if Brady and Gronk can hit their old strides, if Brady can hit all the weapons that are on that Bucks team. And then once that happens, they'll be like, okay, well, I knew he was a good quarterback. Or, it was all Belichick. Like, you're waiting for that climax, and once you get there, it's just kind of like, all right. You're not going to keep watching if he plays like shit, right?
Can we make a bet on whether Gronk makes it through like 8 games or
no?
7?
Go to your next. Go to your next one.
All right, least interesting to watch. What's funny? 2 out of the 6 are from the NFC North, and I'll give you one hint: they're neither of our teams, thankfully. The Lions and the Bears. I put the Steelers on there. I know Roethlisberger's back, but I mean, if you had AB, Antonio Brown, that'd be a different story. They might be the most fascinating. And then the Jaguars, the Jets, and I also threw out another other. It's got to be the Bears or the Jets. No, Bears, Jets, Jag. I don't know. All 3 of them, maybe.
Are you asking me? Or are you answering your own question?
What do you think? I'll let you.
I can't say Lions and Bears because they're in the division. I don't know why you put them on there. You have to pay attention to them because you have to know if one of our teams just drops the ball, if somebody gets hurt, like, how boned are we? Like, the Lions, I honestly, like, people make fun of them every year, but I still feel like they are always more competitive than the Bears. The Bears, they'll make all the noise because the fans are very, very, very boisterous, but they don't... they never really amount to anything, though. But the Lions, I don't know why, but they always play the Packers really well, especially in Detroit, so... But so neither of those. Steelers, I think since it's going to be Roethlisberger's last year, people want to see if Juju is actually any good or not. I love watching TJ Watt, so personally can't put the Steelers there. Jaguars, Gardner Minshew has given me a reason to watch. DJ Chark is obviously a lot of fun. Their defense between injuries and all the trades and the free agents they let go, I can name like 2 people on that defense now. But I do like what Minshew did, and also he carried me in fantasy for a little bit, so props to him. Jets are a dumpster fire, and I can't... oh my gosh. Like, it's not even like the AFC version of the Raiders because they're both in the same conference. Like, that's where players go to die, or that's just where your career just takes a brief stop. You don't get any better, you don't get any worse, you're just there. And then you figure out what you're doing after. Yeah. So I would, out of those, Jets, because it's just if the Packers play the Jets, that will literally be the only Jets game that I watch the year. Like that's the only time I've ever watched a Jets game is if they were playing the Packers. So
there was more I could think of least interesting than more fascinating, because I think the 2 that obviously stand out for fascinating are the Cardinals and the Chiefs. But there's a handful. Like I wanted to throw the Browns in there even, but
why?
No, I know. The Browns are going to be kind of like middle of the road, I think. So I couldn't throw them into either category because you have no clue what you're going to get.
That's everyone bought into the hype last season. How'd that work out?
Yep.
You fool me once, Ace. Fool me once. All right. So, I mean, like we said, we'll dive a little bit more into NFL next week. Get a little NBA preview going on. Wow, NFL preview going on. Get ready for the legendary Packer-Vikings matchup that we are all just holding and waiting desperately for. But thanks, guys, so much for watching. Like I mentioned, if you're not already following us on Twitter, please give us a follow at AA Podcasts. We're also available, again, wherever you find your favorite podcasts and on YouTube. So that is it. Appreciate y'all. That is Ace. I am Yanni, and we are out.